We're good to go? I'm ready. Sort of.
You're going to hit the keyboard.
I know.
Throw it all off.
Just watch. Forget it. It's going to go over here. Here's the behind the scenes look at me and my dad. There we go.
And easy corner of this on there. That changes that one
This is actually better.
though. Is it better?
Oh yeah, so much better. Yeah,
And you're
Yeah.
over there.
yeah, that's fine.
Or
That's
they
just a
cut
backup.
one.
That one does a transcript for us, so we don't have to transcribe it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's just for the transcript.
Okay.
Anyways, alrighty. So my dad is the professional at saying prayers, so I'm gonna let him say a prayer.
No.
Here, I'll say a prayer first, and then he'll come in and sweep up my mess. How about that?
That sounds good.
The story of our life.
I'm just not good at saying out loud prayers.
Oh my gosh, are you joking me? It's like the whole room explodes, like, and light comes in, and it's crazy. That's not behind the scenes up there. So, okay, so we're gonna say a prayer. Let me say a prayer so I can say a prayer. Okay, Heavenly Father God, we just thank you for bringing us together today. We know that everyone's lives are hectic, that our lives are hectic even when we don't think they are. Kids and jobs and lives and errands and all that stuff. And sometimes it's hard for us to find time to just sit and talk to you. So we just ask you, Lord, to step forward today and to just put a huge snow globe all around us, and put and each person that says yes right now, live or watching later on, say, I am now a snow globe, and just allow your field that you already have, your aura that you already have, to turn into something that looks like a snow globe. And as you, God, allow us to feel the energy around us, feel our snowflakes around us. Is it murky? Is it slimy? Is it clean? Are they black? Are they white? Are they pink? Are they green? Are they blue? We just ask you, God, to just blast away all the darkness, all the cords, any attachments that we have to anyone else's snow globes, anything's snow globes. We can actually be attached to our company's snow globe, or a baseball team's snow globe, or is there a lottery tonight?
Yeah, there's like $1 billion lottery.
Oh, I just literally saw there are tons of people attached to the lottery snow globe. Ooh, we should tune into the snow globe and see what the numbers are going to be. They already told us no when we asked about that, remember?
We're not allowed to do that.
There goes one of our snow globes. See, that was the sign right there.
But just out of curiosity, or just as a point, oh wait, let's finish up on the
Yeah,
prayer.
so let's ask Jesus, Peter, Rosemary, Eden, all the usual suspects that come in to help us and assist us in bringing truth and bringing wisdom and bringing knowledge in a way that we can understand it. We're just human. And sometimes the stuff that you show us just doesn't make sense. And we just want to understand your words so that we can have faith, because even me, every day immersed in this, just have such a hard time with faith. So today I set the intention, me, Marissa, not the channel, that I be given the ability to have faith the way that my dad has, the way Marla has, the way that I see other people have. And it's just so beautiful, and I just fake it till I make it.
No, you have faith.
I have faith, but not the way that others do. Actually, and I'll tell the story about the demon on Parker the other night. I finally had faith in God when I tried everything, and then I finally just went, you know what? I dropped down on my knees and I put my hands on his head, and I used some of Audrey's
On Parker's head.
on Parker's head on she has her Hipsy Gypsy stuff, and I thought I grabbed some orange stuff for his solar plexus, but it was actually a root chakra thing, which is what was perfect because that's where it was. And I rubbed this stuff on his head, and Madison walked over and was rubbing it all over his head, and I just said, Lord, if you are real, prove it to me. Remove this demon from my child. And he like went like this. And he went
Playing in the water.
just started playing in the water because he loves the bath. He loves the water. And for like a whole week, he hated the water. It was like, he was like, ah, like you when you stick the Wicked Witch in the water and she melts. He didn't like the water. It's like he was gonna melt or something. So, anyway.
Let me add one thing for people. Some people have a hard time visualizing themselves in a snow globe. And we talk about the snow globe all the time. Marissa certainly does.
Yeah.
And I had a hard time in the beginning trying to figure out how to visualize that snow globe and being inside the snow globe. But in our radio show, your radio show that I was a guest on this last Tuesday, during the session there while you were channeling, James came in. Or was it Peter? Was it Peter or James that gave us the example of how to cleanse ourselves? And you don't remember.
I don't remember.
It might have been Peter, it might have been James.
If it was Peter, I would have remembered because Peter is a part of me.
Okay, it might have been Peter.
I think it was George Washington, so that was James. He was going, ah, 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 ah. Was he butting in?
It might have been James, it might have been Peter.
Yeah.
But anyway, the example was...
Rosemary says, either one of them are annoying. Just walked in. She says, just saying. Rosemary. Anyways, our Jesus groupie.
Anyway, the example that it was either Peter or James, and we'd have to listen to the radio show again to see who that was. But he said, let's say it's Peter. Peter said, picture this spiraling football over your head. It's a spiraling football.
They said football, it's funny.
It's a football. And it's light. It's all light. And it's energy. And it's spinning and it's spinning and it's spinning and it's spinning above your head. Now picture it spinning and keeps spinning, but it's dropping down through your head. Through your head, down past your face, through your face, down your neck, down your spine. And as it's spinning, it's still spinning, but it's cleaning you. It's cleaning you. It's like a vacuum cleaner. It's cleaning you, cleaning you, cleaning you, until it's completely spun its way all the way through your body. And now it's spinning around you, and it's expanding out to the size you want it to be. And now it's a big round ball, a big round ball of light around you. And then as you picture the Holy Spirit bringing in more light to just fill that light bulb within your body, which is the Holy Spirit within you, let that light up, and then when that lights up, it will blow out all the darkness inside that football that's spun around you. So now you're inside the spinning light of football, and with the additional light, it blows everything out, and now you're in a big, clear snow globe. Everybody can see your light, and you're clean. It was really neat.
Yeah, that's a cool one. It reminds me of the kids class that I taught like 2 years ago. It's called Heal Your Inner Teenager, because our teen years are the ones that screw us up for our entire life. You know, we have a crush on a boy or a girl. Who was your first crush? Lucy Magana.
Lucy Magana was.
She had a little sweat right there. He used to tell us.
No. Lucy Magana was my first girlfriend. The first girl I liked was
You said she had a little bit of sweat on her.
Yeah, and she was 4 years old, and I think I was 8. And she had little beads of sweat on her lip there. I have no idea what her name is.
It's so funny that you remember
But
the
she
sweat.
was so cute. I was 8 years old and I was in love.
Aww.
So you can fall in love at a very young age.
Well, I wonder if you knew her soul.
I have no idea who she is. I think she 4 years old, and she lived down the street. We moved shortly after that.
She
So
feels like a Dolores soul. That's funny.
it's hard to say.
He has a nurse named Dolores that heals him, and then he
A nurse guy.
a nurse guy named Dolores. But I think that they were in a relationship, Papa and his women. He's gotten him in the afterlife.
But she's also Celeste. She comes as Celeste.
Yeah, she comes
and
in
Dolores.
Celeste too.
And when I'm sick, when I'm not feeling good, I tend to turn to Celeste or Dolores,
Mhm.
because she's sort of like my nurse angel.
They make him better.
and they make me better. So, you know, it's just a fade. And of course, Celeste and Dolores is just a piece of Christ anyway. So, anyway, well, what we're doing today, very briefly, Marissa threw this whole great big thing. I don't know if anybody can see this.
Yeah, they can see it.
This was the original manuscript for our first book, Answers, Heaven Speaks. And there's a lot of stuff in here that did not get included in that book.
There's so much stuff.
We had to cut it down. So we're thinking of maybe doing a...
No, he turned our book into a Christian book. It was very good. He went down to Mexico and he sent me the book and said, okay, it's done. Read it. And I opened it up and I went, oh my God, what did he do?
She wasn't real happy about it.
I was not happy.
Did you knock us off?
Yeah, but not on these. And not on that Facebook.
Oh, why'd you move that?
Because we needed to have this other one. Because Peter just said that that one over there wasn't hooked up to the right internet. So that's okay. We'll get it down. Now, these guys are still going over here on my Marissa Morris page. So we're all good.
So all the people that are over there are knocked off.
Yeah, but then they'll come over here.
Oh.
See? And this one doesn't have a big old fat camera attached to it or anything like that. It's just very, very simple. Watch this. This is going to make our life easier. Much, much easier. I think. Yeah. Just, these cameras are like going to be the death of me. That's just all there is to it.
Now keep in mind, she spent about 30 minutes to get this perfect.
Yeah.
And now while we're doing it, she's just changed it.
Yeah, and it took me about 45 minutes to write the post for Patreon to do it so that everybody would know about our contest that we were having through Crowdcast, and then that didn't work either. So I've gotten to the point now where I just say whatever, and whenever I say whatever, then it works. But if I care too much, then it doesn't work because it's dark energies. So that's a lesson for you in your life, that if everything's going great and then everything starts falling apart, whatever you do, don't do, oh, it's just one of those days. Don't, oh wow, this is a lesson for me because I do that all the time. It's just one of those days. It's because then you're giving it an excuse to be one of those days. And that is allowing it to be one of those days. And then it just allows it to just keep snowballing. You know how it just keeps snowballing and snowballing and snowballing and snowballing. But what they're saying is that when you're feeling like it's just one of those days, stop and do the snow globe. And then everything will get better. Because people thinking negative thoughts about you, people saying negative things about you can affect your day. Now that the veils have lifted since March, just as much as somebody walking up and saying, hey, you're an idiot, but can affect us a whole lot more now because now we can hear what people are thinking about us unconsciously ever since March. But, or I'm sorry, feel what people are thinking about us. But this March, or this January, this coming January, supposedly another veil will be lifted, which means that we will all be able to hear each other's thoughts, which will be very interesting.
Which would be really scary.
Yeah, yeah, and we won't realize that we're hearing each other's thoughts. We'll think that they're our own thoughts, and that's our main goal that's my main goal right now in educating everybody in how to stay in their own energy. Even last night, Michelle, our best medium here, we were dealing with a girl's energy that was a little bit tough, and I called in for backup, and she says Oliver's throwing up, and I said, well, you're in his field. And she says, no, I'm not. And I said, it looks like you got in there like 7 minutes ago or something. And she says, oh, because she said she started thinking, I wonder if he's going to be okay with me doing the healing here with him here. And so just by her thinking about him, she left her body and went into his energy field. So whatever she had on her, all of her stress went into her 5-year-old, and he went and threw up.
Well, we've also had lessons that 5-year-olds or whatever just accumulate those flakes. and that child reacted right away. But children accumulate those dark snowflakes from their parents, and they get hidden away.
Yeah, they get defense mechanisms
they come
for
out
them.
when they become adults.
Yeah, but now what they're saying is the difference between that and now is the snowflakes are going to be, they're going to be now. Like before you used to have to be like, oh, you get in your first relationship and you start acting like your mother or your father or whatever. Now it's going to be like the second the energy gets in your field, the kids are going to experience it. And there's already a lot of parents talking about kids being suicidal and not wanting to live and stuff like that. So we feel like if you guys can help spread the word, if we can help spread the word about the snow globe, and just simply, nothing mystical, just clearing our own emotions out of our energy field and making sure that we are in our own snow globe, that the world would be a different place. Just imagine none of anyone's anger being in your energy field. You could actually stay happy. And if you think about somebody a little too long, you end up in their energy field as of last March, when everybody's awareness or everyone's, basically you, were released from your physical body. So now when we think of a place for long enough, we actually go there, and our brain reads it as if we are there. And that's what I read about in this fabulous book, if you guys want to buy it. Did you find the thing that you found, or is it missing again? Oh, okay.
No, I was just thinking, I was going through this, and one of the questions, you get a lot of questions, and I think there's a lot of questions, I believe, in the church as well. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a Christian, and so coming to Marissa's Abilities it wasn't a cakewalk. It was more like a high wire act.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of dangerous dealing with my church and everybody, but I think everything's pretty well calmed down. We have a better understanding.
It was beyond stressful for me, because I still think, like, am I literally like damning my father and myself into hell?
No.
You know, I mean, no, I'm not. But it's still, you know, you get the insecurities and you start thinking, oh my God, what if I'm wrong? Because we learn something new every single day.
Yeah, we learn something new all the time. But no, we've asked this question directly of Jesus in our sessions, and it's in one or two of our books, his answer. And that's because he says that you have the discernment. Other psychics, mediums, or whatever may use it for their own gain or somebody else's gain.
The lottery tonight.
Yeah, the lottery tonight. Oh, and that was going to remind me, the one little story for those of you out there. Marissa was told in the very early going not to do prophecy, otherwise she was going to get burned at the stake like she has so many times in previous lives. So they said absolutely no prophecy,
Yeah.
none whatsoever. Now, given that, Jeff's brother passed away at the end of July, and I don't know what the baseball standings were or whatever, but the Milwaukee Brewers are not known to be a great baseball team. They're kind of a medium, and I don't follow baseball anymore, but anyway, Brian, you did a session after Brian passed away with Brian's parents and Jeff.
Yeah, just Jeff. We
Just
got
you
on
and-
tape,
just
yeah.
you and Jeff?
And I don't let spirits into my field, even if it's our brother, but I did. I went against the rules before 3 days, because they still have all of their physical ailments. So if you channel someone who's just passed, you imprint all their stuff on you. But we couldn't get a direct answer. We didn't know whether he took his own life. We wanted to know why. We wanted to know what was going on. We were clueless. The police weren't telling us anything. So I said, okay, fine, I'll channel him. So I channeled him, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was, the Milwaukee Brewers are actually really good. And he said something about 2-0, like chances 2-0 or something. He said 2-0 or something like that. And he was eating a hot dog, and he was in San Francisco with Christian, his best
I
friend.
think you remember you saying that over here the Milwaukee Brewers are a pretty good team.
Yeah.
They're a pretty good team. So we kind of looked at each other, and then the very next day, the Milwaukee Brewers won a game.
That day they won by what he said they were going to win by. No, they were off by a point. So I said, Brian, you were wrong. And he said, well, actually, he said the layer of the world that I was in is 7 hours ahead of time. So we're 7 hours ahead there. And what people do with their free will between where we are and where you are can change things. So
Wow.
somebody can be at home with a voodoo doll poking the pitcher in the batter, you know, people can be saying prayers or, you know, whatever, but there's all, he said there's all these different layers of free will between all the different layers of who we are. And there's a piece of us that's in the future, and that's how we have deja vu.
Well, bottom line is, it's not going to surprise us if the Milwaukee Brewers win the World Series.
And we're going to kick ourselves for not betting.
Yeah, we never put a bet on it. We should have. I bet you the odds were like 100 to 1. Anyway, back in July to win the World Series, because they've already beaten the Colorado Rockies, and in initial playoffs, and then now they're playing for the pennant with the Dodgers. So I don't know what's going to happen in that series, but. Which I feel really bad because my dad was a major Dodger fan, and my brother Randy is a major Dodger fan, and my nephew Stevie is a major Dodger fan. So I certainly don't want to say anything against the Dodgers, but
the Dodgers were our rivals growing up. I had to go from go Dodgers to go Padres.
Yeah, that's because we moved from Santa Barbara to San Diego.
First thing you taught me how to say when I was 3. Go Padres.
So anyway, we're not supposed to do pharmacy.
The
The
reason why we're not supposed to do prophecy is because prophecy can be proven wrong. And the guide said that the most reputable, trustworthy, accurate medium that gives prophecy that can be proven wrong can be laughed at and will not have a good reputation. Because the second you tell somebody something, they'll either do the exact opposite or they'll do exactly what you said and they'll screw it all up. And somebody that's a horrible person with horrible intentions but doesn't give prophecy and doesn't get wrong gets listened to.
It comes right out in here. It says, let's see, who are we?
It's a huge book.
Where are we from? Oh darn it! I had that one that I read to you earlier because it said what our mission is, but our mission is. Oh no, did that die again?
No, it's just, remember it said the internet was going to die? It told me. They told us. That was prophecy right there. It's trying to reconnect. It's fine. We've got like 4 cameras going. At some point or another, they're going to hear us.
Anyway, one of the questions, and I'll read this, and it shouldn't take too long. Excuse me, I'm still getting over bronchitis. Anyway, people and their pets. People love their pets.
Yes.
And believe me, when one of your pets passes away, it's like losing a child. It's just one of those terrible, terrible things. So people wonder, do dogs go to heaven? In fact, I think there's either a song or there's a movie or something.
There's
like
a cartoon, All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, let me just read this one page. It should go rather quickly.
Whoever's on that is not supposed to hear what we're hearing, and that makes me more determined. So go ahead and read, and I'm just going to make sure that this person gets to hear.
Why is that thing keep
Because
talking?
people have ghosts around them, and the ghosts know that it will give them peace. And because it will give them peace, they're going to make sure that they cannot hear us. So they come in and they mess with the connections so that the person cannot hear them and get the peace that they deserve. So that makes me on even more of a mission to make it work. Hold on.
Okay, anyway, I'll go ahead and read it.
I heard it.
Okay, this was entitled, and it never made it into our book, if I don't remember it being in the book. So anyway, it's headlined, Do Dogs and Cats Get to Go to Heaven? When my mom came through to say hi, my mom had died in 2000, and this was a channel session in 2012.
This was our first one.
One of our first channel sessions.
Yeah.
Anyway, my mom came in, and she was holding Buttons, her favorite dog on earth, near the end of her life. Poor Buttons had died shortly after my dad had died in 1989, but My mom had come to visit me and my family in late night in 1989. My dad had passed away in August of that year. Unfortunately, Buttons was sadly affected by the lack of pressure in the baggage compartment of the airplane, and she died just a couple months later. Buttons, the dog.
Oh, she didn't die on the plane?
No.
Oh, thank God, but still, that's so sad.
My mom was devastated losing my dad and her favorite companion all within months of each other, so I was very happy to see that dogs truly do go to heaven.
Yay!
We have learned that not all animals go to heaven, but there's a special place for pets in heaven. Pets, and primarily dogs, have the energy level and ability to communicate with someone that has the ability that Marissa has. Marissa's brought comfort to many dog owners. The one that immediately comes to mind is Louie. You remember Louie? Louie is a cute beagle owned by my friend Brandel. Brandel was complaining that Louie was just not himself lately.
Oh, yeah.
I asked Marissa if she could meet with Brandel and Louie. Marissa found that Louie was having trouble digesting the new food that Brandel had tried out. Louie also told Marissa, telepathically of course, that he didn't like being held high over anybody's head because he had a bit of a fear of heights. He also liked riding in the car but preferred that Brandel not drive too fast. Brandel took the advice to heart and changed Louie's food and consciously avoided having anyone lifting Louie over their heads. And Louie was back to his happy self just shortly after this meeting. So he had been kind of freaked out because of things that he didn't like. Marissa met with the dog and told Brandel what to do, change the food, don't
But
hold
then
the dog
remember the
over
husband
head.
got all offended and
Yeah,
got all
he got-
mad at you. Oh, don't tell her to tell my dog not to. Oh, God, it was a
He came
huge.
back and said, don't talk to my dog. Don't tell my dog what to do. Whatever. You just got knocked off of that one.
You got knocked off that one too? Ah, okay, well, I'm just going to start on. This one's still going. It is so. There is somebody on here that really needs this. That's when you know, because this is all set up perfect now. Perfect. Look at perfect. And this is going to be perfect. Watch. But that's still going. So we're still good on that one. That one's YouTube.
There we go.
So there's Marissa Bolanowski. This is going to be Marissa Morris. Page manage. There we go. Okay.
Can I go ahead and read the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, another dog story that I remember was one of a compassionate lady who rescued a husky from the dog pound animal shelter, to be politically correct. The dog's new name was something like Georgette. The husky was very standoffish and showed no love whatsoever to her new owner. The dog would find her food, but then find a secluded place to lie down and basically hide. Much to her chagrin, the new owner was about ready to take Georgette back to the shelter when by word of mouth she heard about Marissa. Marissa linked up with Georgette and learned that her name was Cookie, and she preferred that name. But Cookie was very upset with the collar that her new master had put on her. Apparently the collar was too much like the one that she wore when she was with her initial master, and her previous owner was not a good master. Apparently, Cookie was left outside on a chain with a collar that would dig into her neck. She was also mistreated and beaten as well. She asked Marissa, the dog, who was called Georgette when she was adopted,
Oh
but
yeah,
whose
she had
real
like
name-
she had like a person's name.
but whose real name was Cookie
Yeah.
originally,
Yeah.
so she wasn't responding to Georgette. Anyway, she was apparently Cookie was left outside in a chain with a collar that would dig into her neck. She was also mistreated and beaten as well. So she asked Marissa to tell her new master to get her a soft leather collar instead of a chain collar she had, as well as a preference to the hard food instead of the soft stuff from the can. So the new owner began calling her dog Cookie, replaced the food, and replaced the collar. Marissa received a call from her client about a week later and said that Cookie is now her constant companion and that she even sleeps with her now and is always wanting to lay in her master's lap as well. Marissa saved this poor dog from certain death, and now Cookie will look forward to heaven as well.
I totally forgot about that. Who was that lady?
Now, for you cat people, I know that cats are magical. My spiritual buddy is Eden.
Cats are magical.
I know what I said here. My spiritual buddy is
Jeff will
Eden.
laugh at that one.
Anyway, my spiritual buddy is Eden, and she loved her cat back in old Egyptian times. Unfortunately, cats are a bit skittish about communicating on our level, but we also know of others in heaven. holding their favorite cats as well. Love your pets because they too have a connection with the Father and have been given to you by God as a gift companion with unconditional love.
So one thing that the guides are saying right now that they want to share about the animals and their about cats, dogs, so even goldfish, they're saying horses, yeah, even a goldfish, they're saying that if a human being is having a hard time making a connection, so let's say that we're inside our snow globe and God's trying to talk to us, we have a piece of God inside of us, obviously, but if that piece of God inside of us is nowhere near us, they call it the God spot in my book here, called the God spot. So you can actually close your eyes right now and say, show me where inside of me my God spot is, and you'll be drawn to a certain part of your body. And then say, show me where my thought spot is. And if they're in two different places, that means that those two pieces of you, your God spot, which is actually, the thought spot is actually the God one. The God spot is actually you, whatever you're thinking of, wherever you're thinking of. It moves around all over the place. But your thought spot stays put pretty much until you move up a level. Like we moved up a level, I think after we were doing these for like 6 months, Grandma Betty came in and said, yay, you went from a level 3 to a level 4, which means our thought spot moved up. But you can ask that your God spot and your thought spot be united each day. And if you do that, that gives you an easier way of communicating with God. But if you've got that disconnect, say your thought spot here, God spot's here, what God is going to do, or what your guides are going to do, or your higher self's going to do, is they're going to come in and they're going to bring you an animal. And that animal is going to have a little tiny piece of your thought spot in them. So your higher self, basically, or your thought spot, that's usually, say, like right here, is going to break off a little piece of itself. So whenever the dog comes over and licks you, the information from your higher self is going through the dog and into your lost God spot that doesn't know where it's going or what it's doing. So if you're ever feeling lost and confused, sit with your pet and ask your higher self for advice. They were telling me today that when I got really confused about some dark energies that were like attacking me from a session I did yesterday, they said, well, first ring out Poochie and then ring out yourself. And I said, what do you mean ring me out? And they showed me, I should grab Poochie and show you guys because it's amazing. You just go down, you start right up here at the occiput on their head, and like here, watch how you turn around, like if just right up on the top of their head up there, and you kind of put your finger in up there. See, look, it shut down. And you just go all the way down their spine like that. And you go all the way down, and then at the very bottom just go whoosh, like kind of like wipe the energy away. And that will clear out any blockages they have in their kundalini energy, because doggies and cats have kundalinis, which I think is so cute. So yeah, when you clear out their energy, and what's interesting, and I love to show how Poochie does it every time. If Poochie's covered in my energy, which she is right now, which is why she won't come in the office, is when I'm out of body, Poochie is like my guardian of my lower chakras. So she'll start shaking if there's stuff around. She'll start kind of freaking out. And if I go in and I push on her spine and go down her spine, then when I get to the spot where she's blocked, she'll yawn. Every time. This is just not being our friend today. Justin, is this your fault? I'm kidding. Because Justin's on it. I'm kidding, Justin. Justin's on the other one. Justin, you're keeping the other one alive, because my dad met Eden in person, and I said, yep, I met my guide in person. It's Justin. Live video, take 5,000. I'll just go again.
Maybe you're hooked up to the wrong Wi-Fi. Maybe you're hooked up to the one upstairs, and you should be hooked up to the one
I'm
downstairs.
hooked up to the one that's like the landline. I'm on the landline, so we're good to go. And then, that's fine. We have one going, so it's okay.
Yeah, but it's frustrating. Everybody who was on this one, they get knocked off.
Yeah.
And they go over this one, then that one gets knocked off, so they're already gone.
Yeah, well, if they're gone, then you're gonna miss out if you're gone, guys.
I know,
That's
but
all
it's not
they're-
their fault.
I know.
Not their fault.
But it's not ours either, and we'll blame it on Poochie. It's Poochie's fault. She abandoned us. She's not here to protect my energy. I'm kidding. Internal mic. There we go. Logitech. There we go. So that's that camera right there. And then that one's there. All right, we're good to go again. Let's see if it sticks. The good old faithful is my phone. It's gonna go on forever until it dies in 2 seconds. So my dad found something really cool. What was it on?
I don't know. I got a bunch of different.
There's
things.
so much cool stuff in this. It's like he went on vacation. He came back. I expected a metaphysical book, and he came back, and it was like a total Christian book. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, I have to write a introduction for this. And I was like, I'm so embarrassed. Like, millions of people are going to read this book. Like, remember we thought when we met with that agent, we were like, oh, that's a piece of cake. We can sell 10,000 books in like a minute. She told us we had to sell like 10,000 books in order to be our agent. And we're like, oh, that's a piece of cake. That's easy. Little did we know, it's not that easy to sell books. Oh well, I'm just going to let this one go as it may.
Wrap it up for the day. It's just not working.
No. I'm giving it one last shot.
Yeah, but you've already lost everybody.
They can watch it on rerun. It's okay. They're gonna, and everybody's still on YouTube. We've still got a bunch of people over here on YouTube.
I wanted to read.
Right, guys, who's on YouTube? Give us a shout out. Let us know where you're texting from, and if you've lost any loved ones. Let's see if they want to. Well, I'm not going to do the readings right now, but anyone who's signed up for the classes today, I was going to pick a free reading tomorrow. Look at all those people. There we go. See?
Boy, you people are patient over there.
Yeah, they're
Whoever's
totally-
on over there
they're
is
totally
really,
patient.
really patient.
Yeah, they're patient. Hi, YouTubers. YouTubers are awesome.
No, actually, the people who are getting knocked off are probably the patient ones. Oh well.
That's fine. I want you to read that quote that you found. It was the very first thing you read me. It was
Today?
Yeah, you said, "Look what I found." It was like the very beginning of the book, and it was
Trying to find it.
it was about it was underneath an orange sheet, and you said, "I just found this," and we had just been talking about it. Well, let me call on the guides, and I'll go ahead and just channel the guides real quick while he's looking for that. This is a diversion that the dark side uses to frustrate us so that we will either stop, and that's why I'm not giving them the satisfaction, or so that we will not clear somebody that has an earthbound spirit. So in your mind right now, what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that you have a big snow globe underneath you. And that big snow globe is bright and shiny, or you can imagine a spotlight. Let's do that. Let's do a spotlight. Big spotlight underneath you, like those ones that are like sail on aisle 4, sail on aisle 4. And I want you to imagine that white light directly underneath you. And then you're just going to talk to the light. I want you to tell the light, I want you to clear me of anything that isn't good for me, that doesn't make me feel good. And then I just want you to allow the light to clear you. You don't do anything. You just imagine the light shining up through your feet, And that's it. That's your only job. That's it. That's all. There we go. Look at everyone's getting cleared. So just imagine that spotlight underneath you. This is what I use all the time when I get so frustrated and I'm like, I can't clear myself. Is I either imagine like one of those platters that we use, you know, when you entertain people, you know, the little platters that spin. I'll imagine one of those. This is the one that's just not wanting to work. You're just not going to get to see it from that side. That's fine. So the just imagine one of those spinning platters underneath you of pure light. And then you realize that that light is light because that's a mirror that is spinning around underneath you. So it's like a mirrored spinning thing underneath you, and there's a ton of light shining down into the mirror. And what you realize before long is that that light is coming out of you. It's starting to come out of your feet, little cracks in your feet. You may have like, imagine like dirt all over something and then light starts bursting out of it. I always see everyone as like a dirty pot roast bag. It's kind of gross, but it's a pretty accurate description of the etheric body. And then as the light shines down into that mirror and your feet begin to clear, the mirror will start spinning. I'm programming it to do that. And it'll start moving up. And just allow it to go wherever it needs to go in your body to clear whatever it needs to clear. And you can say spirits, ghosts, discarnates, entities, fallen angels. Ooh, there we go. There was a bunch of fallen angels. We didn't ask for no fallen angels. There's a new group of fallen angels. Zadkiel.
There's a lot of fallen angels that we as humans have to be careful because fallen angels are cut off from the light. Mm-hmm. They don't get the light from God anymore. They're not getting any energy. They can die. Basically, they can die. Or go wherever, back to hell, or wherever
like a cell
they
phone.
come from.
No, like they just said, like a cell phone.
Yeah,
they run out of battery.
They just run out of battery.
Yeah.
So what they do is they come and they
mm-hmm.
they attach themselves to you. Now, if you're protected and you're in the light, you're within your snow globe, you have the light of God within you, they can't attach to you.
Because you're too high. They're too low.
You're above them. You're above them, exactly. So what they do is they look for people who are angry and mad and jealous and envious and whatever, have all those negative...
Anyone who watches the news.
All those negative qualities, because what they're in essence doing is, and we've explained this, that our soul is a 12-story building. What they're doing is they're not necessarily coming in and sucking on your third 3D self, or your being in the second floor or third dimensional or whatever. They may be plugging into your 5th floor mm-hmm. of your house, of your building, of your soul, and just sucking out all that energy, just sucking it out, and then just kind of think of it as like flies or mosquitoes or something, just leaving their crap inside you. Mm-hmm. They're sucking out all your light and they're putting all this black stuff right back inside you. Then you got to clean yourself and get rid of all that stuff again, or you're just going to be affected by it. How many of these wackos that go out and kill somebody and then they kind of shake their head and they go, "What did I just do?"
Yeah. They're all possessed.
They're possessed. You don't even really realize they're possessed. I mean, there's a very dark field out there. So...
Could we get sued if we watched the news one day and channeled about stuff? Could we get like defamation of character if we actually like said what people had on them?
It's okay to watch the news, but the news tends to bring a lot of negativity into you, so it kind of breaks you down. Anyway, you guys are talking about children. You want to save the children. A lot of suicides and things. There's one short paragraph in here.
But after you read that, I want to teach everyone how to get rid of those parasites. Can I just real quick to get rid of the parasites, guys? The things that are plugged into you. It's the easiest thing in the world. You say, "I am a snow globe," and you say your name. So my name is Marissa. I am Marissa, and I am now a snow globe. And I'm going to imagine that I'm right here in the seat of my soul in a big bright ball. And then I imagine my snow globe around me, and then I call in my big laser beam of light from the Holy Spirit above to fill up my light and my soul to make myself nice and bright. And then I'm going to say, show me a wall. And then imagine a wall that's completely empty. And then say, that wall now represents all of my charges. And all of a sudden your wall will be like covered in like little outlets and stuff like that. You may not have cords and stuff like that. They may have unplugged and they're going to come back later. But that wall now represents all of my charges. And then after you've imagined all these outlets everywhere, you just say 0 charge. And just this void comes down and goes whoosh, and just takes away all the outlets. And what you've done is you've just completely robbed the fallen beings that'll come in looking like Jesus or like Archangel Michael. There's parts of Archangel Michael that have fallen. There's Metatron, all the angels. I don't trust any of the angels. I only trust me. I only trust my higher self, God, Yeshua, yeah, pieces of me. Then say, show me a wall again, and then say, that wall now represents the charges that I am plugged into. And see if there's any outlets pop up. I have 3. Let's see, Poochie, oh, Poochie. And then again, you say 0 charge. Boom, 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 boom. See, my plug just came back. Ah, that feels good.
Okay, I don't know. This was obviously in 2012, and we asked a question. You have to keep in mind, these are questions we asked when we're just getting started. We didn't know anything. So, and they have told us over the years now that there was a lot of stuff that they taught us in the very, very beginning.
You just dumped it in the...
I mean, we've got hours and hours, hundreds of hours of tapes, and a lot of it we have not transcribed and incorporated it into books. So we have a number of books, but our books don't have everything that we've learned. So it's kind of fun to look at stuff that we know isn't in our books that kind of got left out. Anyway, the question was, how can we take what we've already heard and make it so simple? And this was a question I made to Marissa. How can we take what we've already heard and make it so simple that a child can understand? Or is that what we were not supposed to do? And I'm not sure who I think you're probably channeling Ilana or Alana or Eden at this time. Anyway, the answer was, a child will understand whatever a parent tells them. A child understands that God loves them, and the child does not question this. The children are not who we are worried about. We are worried about those that do not have the faith of God. Let me read that again. We're worried about those that do not have the faith in God, who were raised as children to believe that they are bad, that they were created in sin. And this is the problem basically with religion. Religion teaches us that we are bad, that we were created in sin, and that we are evil. So when we grow up, we believe that God does not love us. This is the ego, this is society, this is the culture and the world. And I said bingo, and you said is born in, and I said bingo again. Anyways, born in, and creates this evil thoughts in our minds that we believe we are evil. Therefore, when we believe we are evil, it is human nature to call others evil. The evilest, quote unquote, evilest of humans are always the ones who are pointing at others, calling the others evil. Therefore, in the time of the writing of these religions, coming up with these religions, who thought they were evil, put together books, put together writings to keep the other people in check so they would respect God. God has never demanded respect. God does not need to demand respect because you are a piece of God and you respect yourself. And that is the piece of God that is inside you. There is absolutely no question on this side, whether to love God or not. We all love God, except for in the instances, which we talked earlier, for the soul that chooses to rebel and turn their back on God. But this is not a part of the discussion. We are the beings of light, and we choose to love God. When a parent loves you unconditionally, that in terms that you can understand. When a parent loves a child unconditionally and the child understands this, the child would never do anything to upset the parent because the child loves the parent and knows they are loved. The only time a child will misbehave, some children misbehave in order to get that unconditional love, to get that attention when they do not believe that they are loved unconditionally by that parent. But when the child is not loved, that's when they start to do other things in order to get that parent's attention. So what we're saying over on this side, there is absolutely no reason for us to, other than those other souls that we spoke about that turn their backs on God, there is no disappointing God. There is not a piece, a fraction inside of us that wants to do anything to hurt our Father, to hurt God, because we love Him and He is a part of us. We are God. We are not saying God and that we're above all. What we are in essence are, with all universes together, we are all one, and we are all God. So anyway, I want to bring that up.
That was
I don't know. It's
that was
because I
Dolores.
questioned, why, Alana, do you love God? So I think that might have been Alana. But Jesus came in and told us a year or two ago that He was Alana, because we didn't want to think of Jesus. We didn't want to be proselytizing.
Because we thought it was evil, or we didn't want to be evil, like talking to Jesus, or made fun of, or whatever it was.
Yeah, so He came in as different people.
Yeah, He was Jeremy.
So this was
Andrew.
probably Christ or Jesus that was.
that actually looked like Mary to me. There's the three Marys. So there's Mary Magdalene. There's the big bossy Mary that's like big Marissa, and then there's Mother Mary, who's like, she's very like matronly and motherly. But the bossy Mary is like big Marissa. I think she's like my higher self. She's the one that comes in and yells at everyone. Probably does all the stuff that I wish I could do.
I think this was Alana.
That does feel like Alana, and I was starting to pass out, and I used to always pass out with her because she's the one that I first learned how to do trance with.
Yeah, it's got to be Alana, because it can't be. This one can't be. I have a feeling Jesus was jumping back and forth.
Yeah.
What might have been Alana, it might have been Jesus.
Well, let me ask one. Let me see. Who was that? Nope, it was Paul.
Paul.
Yeah. Wasn't Paul Jesus?
No. Paul, when he was, when he met Jesus on the road to Damascus, and he was blinded, 3 days later he got his sight back because he was told to go see a certain person in Damascus. It was at that time that the spirit that had led his life up to that point was removed and taken out, and Christ, because Jesus had already gone up and become part of Christ, Christ came in and put a piece of Himself in Paul. So from the time of Paul's meeting God on the road to Damascus, his spirit was switched out, and Christ then entered into Paul. And so Paul ended up teaching Christ for the rest of his life. And he was a bad guy. Paul was a bad guy.
Well, that's what I was just listening to on the
He
phone.
was a bad guy before the rebirth,
Yeah.
so to speak.
I was just listening to we've got a clip of my dad reading
I wish we had that in here about
I have it.
spirits-
I can
spirits
play it.
being
It's
switched
really
out.
good. It's the duality of man. It's really good. It's only 2 minutes long, and it's talking about how all man and all women want to experience both sides of life, and when we can experience both sides of life, a soul is happy. But it just all depends on where we put our attention, on the good side or the bad side. I have to take this charge for a second. I'll play it. It's really interesting because they said that, you know how we have the angel and the devil on one shoulder? That we really do. We have like
That's the Muslim faith. They believe that they walk around with a dark angel on this shoulder and a light angel on this shoulder.
Are you sure it's light on that side, dark on that side? Are you sure?
Whatever, I don't know which sides, but they believe that, and I was taught this. I'm not a scholar at all in the Muslim or the Islamic faith, but I had clients once that were.
Tell them what you said yesterday. So yesterday my dad gave me a huge epiphany. He said that Jesus and one of the apostles got in a fight because one of them wanted to have God at their right hand.
That was John. John was arguing with his brother James.
Okay.
When they would sit down to eat with
You got
Jesus,
that.
Thou shalt, yeah, okay.
John wanted to sit at Jesus' right hand. But then again, he had 11 other buddies in there because there were 12 apostles, and they all wanted to sit at the right hand. So the biggest honor would be to sit at Jesus' right hand, which meant on your left side. If I was sitting on your right, which I am,
Yeah.
then you are to my left.
Yeah.
And so you had something about
Well,
left side,
because our
right
higher
side.
self is on our left side, and then our lower self is on our right side. So if we're sitting at God's right side, God is on the right of us. So at church the other morning, I posted on Facebook when they were singing "Come to the Chapel" at the end of church when we went up to Newport, and I could see Brian was like standing right here. He was like, oh, oops. I don't know which one's which. Anyways, so Brian was standing like right here, and then God was like right here. So they were like within each other. So Brian is my brother-in-law who passed, and he was standing right next to God, who looked a lot like Jesus to me. But then Jesus was standing in front of them, but Jesus was like standing inside of Brian's leg. So it was like Brian was standing up there. He was huge, like way bigger than the whole church. Their foot, we were like, the whole church was in their toe. And then Brian's, I guess, the left leg was in God's, yeah, Brian's left leg was in God's right, was connected to God's right side. So
See, that stuff goes over my head. That stuff just kind of goes.
it goes over my head. It goes over my head too, but it just like it clicked for me because anyone that takes my classes, you guys see that chart that I draw where I show that we're like living in the leg of our Christ body, and the Jacob's ladder is there and everything. And then my dad found a teaching that Jesus told us a long time ago. We're living on a planet full of human beings that think that they are their leg. So we are Christ is basically what it is. So the whole key to all of this is not anything other than realizing that you are and can be just like Christ. And you can forgive yourself for everything you've done. You can establish a relationship with yourself, with God inside of you, with the Father and Mother above you. But in all actuality, as your awareness moves up in ascension, it's like I still remember the day that Abraham became this big. Abraham used to be like, big Abraham. He looked like Santa Claus. He would come in and I would channel Abraham. He was my gatekeeper. And then one day, Abraham was in my stomach. And I was like, why is Abraham in my stomach? And it was because I moved up. So now Abraham was in, like, before I was seeing him from below there. And then when I moved up, he got little. So somebody asked the other day, actually like 10 people asked, they said, in Ascension, do we still pray to our guide? Same stream of consciousness, just at that level. So it's the same stream coming in from God, shining through, but it's the same stream going through my dad's head, but the further down it goes, the more distortions it's going to get with all the different thoughts and everything. So if he's down there, it's going to have all this stuff in between. So it's going to show up as different beings on different levels. So if you're concerned that you're going to miss your guide, or you're not going to get to talk to your guide anymore because you got attuned, or you're up higher, or your guide's in your stomach now instead of outside of you, just be happy for yourself in that you're becoming one with your Christ body, and that's when you start to realize that the universe is inside of you, not outside of you. And you are less human and more spirit. So that was Mark.
This is pretty cool. We've been on for a while. I don't know if you're going to wrap it up soon, but anyway. I think that was Alana that we were, because Alana asks, or I asked Alana through you, I said, why, Alana, do you love God? Why do you love God? And her answer was, God is love, God is light, I am God. God created me, God created you, God created this earth. There is no question in my mind why I would not love God. The light is God. You call him God. I call him the light. This is what I call God. The light, the love. This is what we are all built and made of. There is no question as to why we would not love, because we are love. This is something that is in our true nature. The only thing we know how to do is love. because we're built out of love. Why? Why do you love God out of faith? Do you love God out of faith? Or do you love God because you met him? No. God is a creation of everybody combined. God is the source, the power within all of us. I have not met God. I do not even know if God is a man or if God is a big, huge soul. God is the creator of the big, huge soul. God is the creator of everything. There are many people who are souls that choose to believe that God is different things. There are religions on this side. There are Hindus, there are Christians, there are Buddhists. There are many religions on this side. I chose spiritualism. When I was on earth, and I still choose spiritualism, on this side, I believe in the Christ. I believe that Christ manifested several times. But there are many beliefs over here on this side, and not anybody that I know has actually met God. We have seen our Christ, our saviors. We have been able to manifest miracles and ask for the Master's help. We can call in the Masters, and we can call in our Christ's light from other realms to help us when the human we're in charge of, say Marissa gets in a car accident. She's about to die due to a malfunction in her vessel of the chemicals, and it is not time for her to leave. I call in the help of Christ. I call in the help of other masters that I know can help me for something that I cannot handle at that point. And I asked, who handles it? I'm not sure who that... I do, and you'll understand when we play this back. In fact, that's going to run out. Tell Alana we're going to call it a day, if that's all right.
Oh God!
I always cut things
I know
off.
he always cuts them off
Sorry.
and leaves us hanging. So they're
sorry
going to
about
say
that.
who my guide was when I'm screwed up and I have chemicals in my body.
No, it was. They're just saying that when they know you're going to screw up, then because she's your guide, Alana's saying she was your guide.
Yeah.
So she knows you're going to screw up because of the chemicals in the body and the mind.
Oh,
and
I thought they were
everything
saying
else.
like because I was high.
Could have been whatever, but
Right,
you
yes.
screwed up like you did. You almost died. So
Yeah.
when they realize that, but they know it's not your time to go, it's not an exit point,
Uh-huh.
then they call in Christ, and they call in the masters, and they call in the angels, they call everybody in that needs to save your human body, save your human self.
That's really
So-
cool. What they're showing me is they're showing in every single person, they're showing me right now it's like a multi-face, like diamond-looking thing. It doesn't look like a diamond. It looks like things that has like it probably has 1, 2, 3, 4 faces, kind of. I don't know, not like 2 pyramids. It's got an extra face, octahedron or something. Anyways, it's pointed like this. And every single person has one. It kind of looks like that football that they were dealing with yesterday in their heart, and it's kind of like rotating over their heart, and it's a little oh wow, this is really cool. It's like a little like connecting beacon where like whatever's going on is being signaled out to all of your guides, so they always know what's going on. Like he had asked, how do the guides know when to come, or how do you know when to come, Mom? Because Grandma Betty, you mentioned her, and here she comes.
Ding dong.
Yep.
Just thinking about
They
them. They're
said
ahead of us anyway. They already know we're going to think of them.
But they also said that it's like a baby monitor. You listen to the baby monitor, and you hear the baby going, but you don't really come because you know that they're not in real big trouble. But then when you hear them really crying, that's when you go and help them. And that's what they do with us. They let us like hang there, and they let us like totally like suffer until we go help, and then they help. But what's cool is they go up to where our heart is, and they speak from there, almost like a walkie-talkie. It looks like a little space station. And they send out signals to all different masters and all different guides. And all the masters and guides aren't coming in necessarily as like people. They're coming in as different like notes, like music, sound, symphonies, like different tones that will come in and cause, like if you do a dog whistle, a dog's going to do a certain thing. If you like whistle like the way that you give them their food, they're going to start salivating. So it's almost like the guides have the humans, they have us programmed that when they play a certain sound that we can't hear, but our body can hear it, that we do certain things. So say like, Samuel's like, like that, I'll be like, oh, I better go, it's might be running late, or whatever. So they program us. That's really cool. But they actually speak all through our heart. So if you want to communicate with a loved one on the other side, or you want to communicate with your guides from the highest possible level, you need to go into your heart, like your beating heart, actually feel it beating. Once you can kind of feel it beating, literally just take your hand, imagine it bright, 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 bright light, because you are holding God's hand. Just put your hand over your heart, and then you'll turn into your higher self. And now you're in Big Joe or Big Marissa. Whoa, I just got really big. Oh man, I see what Poochie's whimpering at. There's some gross energy over in the next door neighbors over there.
Could be.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyways,
One other thing, can I
one more
turn?
thing, and then we'll take like 2 questions, and then we'll go.
Okay, and this is for the Christians out there that go to church and they listen to their pastors and whatever, or even for those who are not, who might be members of other faiths like Buddhists or Hindu or Muslim or Islam. I had asked the questions. I said, Christianity professes that the only way to the Father is through Jesus Christ. If this is true, then where do non-believers go? Talking about heaven later. The answer is, they may not have as much love and light in their heart. It will take them longer to understand the journey of the Christ, of God. Younger souls have a harder time understanding. Sooner or later they will. As souls move up, they struggle to understand the consciousness of Christ. What was written by John in an interpretation of his experiences, and of course it's in John 3:18, I believe, that the only way to the Father is through Christ. So it is John who is often quoted by Christians. So that was John, an interpretation of his experiences, and says you will write an interpretation of what we share. Nothing can be said exactly as it is because it will not be understood by the human mind. Then I asked, so it doesn't matter what your religion is? Everybody dies. They all then realize who the Christ is? I don't know who A.E. is. Alana? Maybe Alana? I don't know.
Abraham?
Maybe Abraham responded? Whoever A.E. is. What we would like to not use the words Jesus Christ in the explanation. We like the word Christ.
Abraham and Ilana, because Abraham was my gatekeeper, and Ilana was talking through him.
Okay, so
Remember, I used to always have
primarily
Abraham, and Ilana was always talking through him.
Abraham is
My gatekeeper.
my ascended master,
Oh, that's right.
which is just underneath my higher self.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, he's sort of like a helper. He's anyway, it's a little complicated.
We all have gatekeepers, and they just stand at the door, and we talk to that gatekeeper, and that gatekeeper talks to everybody so that they know all the languages. We don't have to go out roaming. So he was our gatekeeper, so that's what it is. It's
But
Abraham and Ilana.
this is pretty interesting stuff. Anyway, what we would like to not use are the words Jesus Christ in the explanation. We like the word Christ. Jesus may be used as an example, and Jesus attained the title, the Lord Jesus Christ, while on this earth plane. Jesus came down and was an example of who Christ is. We're all a piece of Christ, but a piece of Christ that came down to earth to teach us both in the physical realm and in the astrophysical realm in spirit was that of Jesus Christ. Christ has been incarnated several times on this planet. There are other pieces of Christ that have gone to other universes and other planets and other dimensions. The one you know most recently is Jesus Christ. But to use the word Jesus, people will say, oh, look, just another stupid Christian book. And Christians will say, oh, look, just another New Age book. And that is slandering and having false gods and defaming Jesus by dragging him into this. The best thing to do, we believe, and this is our belief, and remember, we are not God, we are people just like you. But our belief from our standpoint is, okay, and this is Eden. I've got in parentheses, this is Eden. To keep Jesus out of this, just as you would not say Lord Krishna Christ or Buddha Christ. Yes, you two are familiar with the Christian religion, and this is fine, and this is great. There are many valuable lessons to be learned from the Christian faith that are very important, and Jesus taught very well and left such great lessons for people to live by. It is unfortunate that people do not live by this. I have not lived since Jesus walked the earth, but I have seen the changes and the manifestations physically that have occurred since such a great teacher walked the earth. Buddha is not a Christ. Krishna is, but we will leave these out. By naming these godheads of these religions, we are pigeonholing this book into nuclear religions without even trying. We will remain with Christ, and we can explain to those who read the book that Christ has manifested several times in the physical realm. It may just be the God that they worship, but people must understand that they are worshiping Christ and not the man Jesus. Okay, I'm going to repeat the question again, or the statement rather, so it doesn't matter what your religion is, everybody dies. They all then really realize who Christ is when they go to the other side. AE, responding. Sometimes they don't realize who the Christ is. Sometimes those are so. Thoughts are so convoluted while down here on this physical plane, there's many times that those who believe these things on the planet will cross over and still won't understand who the Christ is. They will be able to see us as their guides, fellow loved ones. And that is why it's so important to understand we're all one. That is why it is so important for us as guides to keep moving in the right direction. Believe it or not, there are non-believers on the other side. They're not in level 1, they're not in hell, but they just don't understand how they're going to get from where they are to where they're going. They have faith, but some souls require a lot more changeability. They want more education, they want to know. So the more education that is given on this planet over time will not only be changing the physical realm, but it will also be changing the spirit world. Family members of those who do not know Christ can also teach on the other side. So if you did not know Christ when you crossed over to the other side, and your mother understood Christ, she could come to you and teach you about Christ, therefore causing your vibration to raise and for you to transfer to other levels to learn more about Christ. But all of us have Christ within us. All of us are a piece of Christ. It's just discovering it, finding it, developing it, loving it, teaching it, learning about it, and knowing it. And knowing of the knowing is what we strive for. Just knowing that we are Christ. And that's it.
Yeah, that's good.
And Christ is a physical manifestation of God. God
So he
is
says,
everything.
so Christ says, and as I step into this field today and bring unto you, each of you, the ability to, oh, this is cool, this is what they're teaching me today, the ability to fill up your gas tank each day. For each of us would like to learn to have more energy, to feel more energy, to be more energetic in our lives. For we get home from work and our child steps upon our foot, and instead of going, oh, let's play and have them ride on your feet, you go, ah, you stepped on my foot. Or you think that. But now, remember, January, they will be able to hear that, even if you don't say it. So as human beings as a whole right now, we must begin to watch our thoughts, to feel our thoughts, to know our thoughts, and to stop being opposite people, whereby we say exactly opposite of what we actually feel. Like, oh, I don't care. I don't even care about him anyways. He could go. I care less. And then you see him over crying over in the corner because he left. And I thought you didn't care. You know, because nobody wants to admit when they care. So Christ is coming in. He's coming in as, he's actually coming in very interesting looking. Let me see. We're in a very, 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 very different, there you go. Wow. Okay. So what we'd like for you to do is each day when you're feeling low and you're feeling down, is get a snow globe and hold it in your hand, or get a ball or something that you can hold in your hand. Say, I am in your name. And I am my I am, which turns you into your God self, which turns you into the you that is holding you in the palm of your hand. I am your name, and I am my I am. Please show me what that feels like. And then just begin to feel. Feel the light of God within you. Sense it. Know it. You can get a little pen and do something like this to trick your mind to think, oh, there's light. My mind gets stuck on that, so I have to use that a lot. Imagine light there. Imagine light inside of you. And as you breathe in through your nose, allow the light to expand. And as you breathe out through your mouth, breathe out anything that's blocking you from being your true I am self, or your God self, you that created you. Once you feel as if your entire body is full of light, say the snow globe in my hand now represents the human that, say, Marissa is, and all 4 of her human energy fields. Ugh, looks like my snow globe is melting off my hand. So, snow globe now represents Marissa and all 4 of her human energy fields. I won't go into the energy fields, it doesn't matter. It's just your emotions and your mind. Emotions in your mind and your brain, intellect and ego. And then all you have to do is just say, I am my I am, and I command that my snow globe be cleared. And imagine a big white light, big void, a big ball of light come down and just come in over your snow globe and just clear it all away until your snow globe is completely light. Once it's completely light, take it and say, fill my gas tank, and pull it into your stomach. And just imagine the light even more so going into you, and this will fill up your chi. This is a very, very, very good exercise that this channel has forgotten about, and we are happy that we are able to remind her at this time, because this is something that she will be doing a lot tonight and a lot over the next few months, for there is a lot of work ahead, and there's a lot of work ahead for all of you. For getting the word out that emotions are contagious is very important. You're not freaks. You're not weird because you're watching these things. You are aware of your emotions. You're aware of your feelings. Nobody likes to talk about, oh, this is Mary. Nobody likes to talk about their feelings. But just through simple visualization, through the simple act of visualization, you can clear emotions and feelings that you have been avoiding forever, that you don't want to feel. Just that simple visualization, but you must, and I will say this again, this is Jesus, you must be your I am self, which is your Christ body, which is me, Christ. I am my I am. So get into your body, I am Marissa, and I am my I am. Imagine the light, fill yourself up with light. This now represents Marissa the human. Show me what it looks like. Call in a ball of light, heal it, pull it into you. Get used to doing that, people, because you're going to need it. Going to need it. Keep this little clip here. Maybe we'll put this on the app so that you can watch it, but this will be very useful for you, because when you're low and you're down, all you can see is people that are in bad moods. If you're tired, everybody's tired. If you walk in the house and you're feeling down and your spouse is in a good mood, you're going to accuse them of being in a bad mood, and that's going to cause a fight. So just remember, you see your own snowflakes first. So make sure your snowflakes are clear before accusing anyone else of what their snowflakes are around them. We bless you, and we bid you adieu, and we love you. Somebody's mom was just here real quick. I'm gonna wrap up. Is there someone named Kim here who has a mom that was just lost? Kim. Let's see. Yes, God loves us all. I don't think that wants us to be afraid, Cindy, but I do think that some religions go a little overboard with the fear and the threats and all that, and that's not necessarily God. I think that that's man deciding that they want to control humans, and I think that humans are controlled mostly. I told Jeff the other day that he's living his life on guilt, and we decided neither one of us are going to live based on guilt. I feel guilty because I'm at work, so I go home and I try and make as much money as possible so I can say I made all this money because I was at work. And then he gets home from work and he cleans and he washes and he makes dishes and he has both kids and he's vacuuming, and he's wanting me to be like, wow, look at you, super dad, because he's living his whole 2 days off from work that he's home, wanting to be noticed for how hard he's working because he feels so guilty for being gone. So we shook on the fact that we will no longer live on guilt and fear. Good. Because you turn into different people. When you're guilty or you're fearful, you turn into a completely different person. You turn into your lower chakras, and that's where Lucifer is. And that's where Satan is. And we want to stay up here. And that's why that exercise is really cool. I totally forgot about that exercise. I'm excited. No Kim that lost a mom. Hi, Jeff. Oh, he heard us talking about him. But he is the very best dad in the whole world, because he can vacuum and hold both kids. and cook and do the lawn and pick up all of Poochie's landmines on the grass and clean his car at the same time. Yes. And give me a hug and a kiss, hello. And look hot at the same time.
He's gonna make tri-tip. and
He's
I'm-
making
and I'm
tri-tips, so
hungry.
we're hungry. We're gonna come eat now.
It's after 6.
Kim, your mother loves you. I don't know if you're on here, but your mother just passed, and she's just in the transitioning phase, so I wouldn't tune into her. But whoever was on here today, I am going to see who is on here. If you go onto my website right now, marissamorris.com, and go onto any of one of the contact forms where you can submit your name and your email address, like to get like a free meditation, or even just email through the site and just say, hey, enter me in the contest. We're going to choose one winner for a free mediumship reading tomorrow during the day sometime. Okay, it's going to be on Patreon, so you have to be on Patreon, but you can be on Patreon for free. You can follow me over there. It's www.patreon.com/discovering intuition, and I'll go ahead and put it here in the comments here so you guys can see it. But go ahead and go over there and put your name in, and maybe you'll get picked. And go buy that $1 billion lottery ticket. Maybe we should go get one on the way home, huh?
Probably too late.
Oh well, we wouldn't have won anyways.
It's like a Powerball, and so it takes in the whole United States.
I'm not a good gambler. I never win. He's like the luckiest guy in the world. He always wins everything.
No, Josh was lucky.
Well, he submitted my brother's name, and then that won us stuff. So, hey, Laura, how's it going? Brooklyn in the house. Oh, it's Janet Klum. Hey, Janet, how's it going? Amy, hey, guys. So, yeah, go over to my website, marissamorris.com, and just put your name in and say I'm entering the contest for tomorrow. And then on Patreon, I'll pull a name. We're going to be doing readings. I also hired somebody with the money that you guys are pledging, and that person will be keeping Patreon very active with free contests, free readings, lots of different cool things, classes, little lessons that are only like $2 to $5. It's going to be like the hip happening, awesome place to be. So go check it out, okay? If you haven't checked it out, www.patreon.com, and then just search me or go to Discovering Intuition. Okay, bye. Bye, guys. Don't forget to go to the website, sign up so you can win. Kim, I think you were in here. I think Kim was in there.